Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are diving into one of the biggest, most important decisions you're going to make as an AI builder. How does your AI actually do things in the real world? We're talking about connecting it to tools. Should you use JSON mode, function calling, or the Model Context Protocol, MCP? Let's figure it out. So let's start with this fundamental question, right? Your LLM is amazing. It can brainstorm, it can reason, it can come up with a plan, but an idea is useless if it just stays inside the model. We need to give that AI hands and feet, a way to actually interact with APIs, with your databases, with real-world services. And make no mistake, this is not a small choice you can just change on a whim. The path you choose right now is going to define your app's future. It affects your development speed, how secure your application is, and maybe most importantly, whether you end up locked into one company's ecosystem or if you're building something that's open and can last. So here's our game plan. We're going to meet the three main contenders, put them side by side to see how they stack up, and then get really practical with a guide to help you choose the right tool for your project. We'll even check out some advanced hybrid moves before we hit the final takeaway. Let's jump in. Okay, first things first, I want you to think of these not as three enemies fighting each other, but more like three different tools in your toolbox. You've got a hammer, a screwdriver, a wrench. Each one is perfect for a specific job, and knowing which one to grab is what makes all the difference. First up, we've got JSON mode. This one is the simplest of the bunch by far. Basically, its whole job is to force the model to give you its answer in perfectly structured JSON that your code can instantly understand. It's awesome for pulling things like names, dates, or product SKUs out of a messy chunk of text. But, and this is a big but, it only extracts information. It doesn't do anything with it. Next up, function calling. Now, this is the native solution you'll see from the big players like OpenAI or Anthropic. It lets the model literally say, hey, application, I need you to run the send email function, and here are the exact arguments to use. It's incredibly powerful, and it feels really seamless. The catch? You're building your beautiful application directly on their land. You are locked into their ecosystem. And that brings us to our third contender, MCP, the Model Context Protocol. The best way to think about MCP is like a universal translator for AI tools. It's an open standard. That means you can build a tool one time, and then any AI that speaks MCP can use it, whether it's an OpenAI model, a local Llama model, or some new model that hasn't even been released yet. It's all about portability and creating an open playing field. All right, now that we've been introduced, let's put these three side by side. Think of this like looking at the tech specs on new gadgets before you buy. The details here are what really matter for your decision. This slide really boils the central conflict down to its core. When you're talking about actually using tools, the big choice is between function calling's easy native integration inside a walled garden and MCP's promise of build once, use anywhere portability. It's a strategic choice. Are you building for speed today or for flexibility tomorrow? Let's really break this chart down. Look at portability. It's a non-starter for JSON mode, low for function calling because you're tied to a provider, but high for MCP. That's its whole reason for being. Now jump down to security. With MCP, you get a standardized security boundary, and it always separates authentication, which is a massive win for any serious application. And look at the ecosystem. Function calling keeps you in one specific sandbox. MCP is all about building a growing open ecosystem. That philosophical difference is everything. Okay, enough theory. Let's get down to brass tacks. The best tool is always the one that fits the job you're trying to do. So let's run through a few common scenarios and see which one makes the most sense. Okay, scenario one. Let's say your task is simple. You have an email, maybe a customer review, and all you need to do is pull out the key info, like the person's name, the company, and the date, into a nice, clean format. That's it. No other actions needed. If that's you, JSON mode is your absolute best friend. It is the simplest, most direct way to get that job done. When all you care about is getting structured data out of the model and nothing more, this is the way to go. It's clean, it's efficient, no fuss. All right, scenario number two. What if you're building an app and you're all in on one provider? You love what OpenAI is doing, you're using all their unique features, and you have zero plans to switch providers anytime soon. This is the absolute sweet spot for function calling. It was designed for this. It gives you that seamless native experience that just feels like part of the model. If you've looked at the pros and cons and decided that vendor lock-in is an acceptable trade-off for that tight integration, then this is an incredibly powerful choice. Okay, but what if your vision is bigger? What if you're building a platform that needs to work with different models? Imagine your main AI provider suddenly triples their prices, or a new open source model comes out that's way better. Are you ready to switch? This is for when portability isn't just a nice to have, it's critical. This is where MCP just comes in and shines. It is the strategic, enterprise-grade choice when you need your tools to be reusable, when you need standardized security, when they're building something that needs to last and adapt. That's what MCP was built for. It decouples your tools from any single AI, giving you total freedom and future-proofing your entire stack. Now, this is where it gets really fun. These tools aren't mutually exclusive. The really smart developers know how to mix and match them to get the best results. And they know how to evolve their architecture over time without having to start from scratch. So check out this awesome hybrid pattern. You can use JSON mode for what it's amazing at, pulling clean, structured data out of a mess. And then you take that perfect JSON output and you feed it directly into a portable, secure MCP tool that actually performs the action, like adding that contact to your CRM. You get the best of both worlds: simple extraction, powerful and portable action. And hey, if you started out with function calling and now you're feeling a little boxed in, don't worry, you're not stuck. There's a really clear migration path. You can map your existing functions to MCP's tool schemas, wrap your code, add an MCP server, and then slowly and safely migrate your apps over. It's an evolution, not a painful revolution. Phew, okay. We have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil all of this down to one final, super simple checklist that you can take with you to make your decision with total confidence. Here it is, plain and simple. If you just need structured data out, use JSON mode. If you are building deep inside one provider's walled garden and need tools, use their native function calling. But if you are building for the long haul, for portability, for multiple AIs, for an open future, MCP is what you're looking for. And that brings me to the last question I want to leave you with. It's really easy to build for the app you need to launch right now. But the best architects, the best builders, are always thinking about what's next. So ask yourself, is the choice you're making today building the app for today, or is it building the foundation for the ecosystem you're going to need tomorrow? Thanks for tuning in for this explainer.